Last week I went back to college and it's been a year and a half since I set foot in campus. And I gotta say that even like with the whole thing of having to wear a mask for 10 hours straight, it feels pretty good to be back. But it actually reminded me that like the number one question that people ask me in class, like people sitting next to me or behind me, is
what's that app you're using?
And in this week's video, I'm gonna answer that question. So the app is called Notion and it's my favorite app ever for several reasons. But one of the main things is that for you to start using it, you just have to like get into the website, click on start account, and you're done. Like it's free, it's cross-platform, so it works in my laptop, it works in my iPad, it works on my phone. But yeah, I mean this with no exaggeration, like this app's changed my life. So let's just get into it. Hello friends and family, my name is Kappabyte and I occasionally talk about psychology. Today we'll be talking about Notion, which is the app that I use for most of my studies and to organize basically everything in my life. Like I selected a few of my dashboards to show you for this video, and hopefully by the end of it you'll know how to create your own Notion dashboard, and you'll also know why it's so useful and why I like it so much, why I use it for basically everything. Anyways, first things first, the way that you're supposed to use Notion is basically by creating this little dashboards within dashboards. So within each of these pages you can create like hyperlinks. I created an example here. So in this page, for example, you could go like /page and that would create a new page for you. So you could call this like new page, for example, right? And now you'd have a page here called new page. You could change like the icon of this, like imagine like you peel here, and this is a new page within your dashboard. So first thing you do when you create a new dashboard, I created actually a blank one here so I can show you. When you first get started with Notion, this is what you see. You don't actually have to start with this or any of these pages. This is just kind of to help you, like to guide you what you can do with it. But I feel like it can be a little intimidating if you're not used to using this, like seeing this many features and like, yeah, I don't know. You can just start by creating a blank page, honestly. And like, imagine you can call this personal dashboard, right? Like I did in my Notion. This would be your personal dashboard and you could put like quote here, everything is possible with the right app, right? And say you want to get this to italics, maybe like Control I. There are a lot of like shortcuts as well, like I, yeah, sure, yeah, that looks like italic now. And now Notion works with little blocks, right? So if you click here, for example, it will change like this whole block, and you can turn this into basically anything you want. So you could change the color by coming here, either the background or the actual color of the letters. So if I want this to have a yellow background, there you go. And now this would be my dashboard. And say you want this to be heading type 2, which is a medium heading, and you'd call this personal. And you want another one heading 2 to be called work. Now, everything you type within Notion, you can just kind of grab and put whatever you want. So right in the side of my personal, you'd put work, and now they're side to side. Now, whenever I have a heading, I like to always put like a divider. I think it just looks nicer that way. Then you could start like creating random pages, right? So personal, say I like tattoos, so page tattoos or tattoo ideas for the future, and there you go. I'd have like one page there. And for work, I'd consider like my university to be work, so page university. Or, you know, I could just have a third one here called university. And look at this, for example, like I created this as an H1 and I want it to be an H2. Just click on the block, turn it into H2, and now it's the proper size. It's really that easy. Like put a divider, and yeah, like I know this makes like no sense. It's just an example for the sake of being an example, but yeah, delete. This is what a dashboard could look like. This is like a basic personal dashboard, and once you're actually done with it, this is what it will end up looking like, right? And this is nothing fancy. Like I've seen people have way cooler like personal dashboards. Let me show you like a few examples here in Google. This is just an example of someone's Notion like personal dashboard that already looks way cooler than mine. But yeah, anyways, this is what mine looks like. Now, this is my university dashboard. I just put everything here. I'll have a quick notes in every single page of my university dashboard. I'll have a quick notes within each of the courses that I have for the semester, so I can just easily access like here quick notes, so I can type whatever you want. I just think it's very important when you're actually in class, like to have a quick notes. I'll always keep it associated with the right like subject, not like a quick notes for everything, because then it would just be confusing. But yeah, I'll keep track of all my grades in this side. Like this will be the grades that I've had up until now, so I have it like filled up until here. And this is my schedule for this semester, for example. Like this is my schedule at the moment. And I know it's all very mixed with Portuguese and English. Now, what else can you do with Notion? This is a shared dashboard, for example. Like this is called Ka and Mo's third year. It's because me and my girlfriend were studying the same thing. We're both studying psychology, and this dashboard is actually shared. Like if you look here, there's an M there. That's my girlfriend's Notion, and we can both edit this page, which is blank because we just started the semester, so we haven't done much with it yet. Here I would have my due dates, but yeah, you know, the semester just started, so I don't have any due dates yet. And this would be like a to-do list. I don't have it organized as well, but to do a to-do list is basically just like everything else. You just type /to-do and there you go. Easy, right? Now, to give you more ideas of what you can do with Notion, this, for example, is my reading list. So this is every single book that I have read in the last 2 years, which is when I started reading like for real. And yeah, I just catalog every single book that I finish and I put it here. Like I'll give it a grade. I will like select the author. I will put like the type of book that it is, if it's fiction or nonfiction. And yeah, this is just a way for me to keep track of everything that I'm reading at any moment. Like, and this is just to give you an idea, you know, like what you could be doing with it, or my tattoos, like the tattoo ideas that I have for the moment. This is all my tattoo ideas at the moment, like, and all the tattoos I've done. Like I just started doing this table. Now, more exciting things you could do with Notion, like I have a GymOS, which is also one of the main things I do with Notion, but based all of my plans within the Buff Dudes plans. If you want to check their channel out, the link will be in the description. To give you a cool example, this is the cutting plan that I bought for their page. I changed like the cover to be their logo. I put a little bicep as the icon, and I set up all the phases of the plan. Like this is a 12-week program, and you'll have like the prep phase, like getting started, day 1, day 2, day 3. And if I just click in all of these toggles, I'll have all of the days for all of the phases, and I love that. Like it's like super practical, and you'll imagine, like I don't want to show like their paid plan for free, but like just click in one day, like one random day. So this would be a back and bicep day. You'll have like pull-ups, band leg rows, single arm rows, anyways. And I'll type in the exercise, the reps, the person who's doing it, because I'm actually sharing this with my family. And you could just type the weights that you do here, and you'll keep track of that. And if you want to create, like imagine you do this plan twice, you could come here, like duplicate, and you'll just have the same table again. And you could erase this and call this one like 22 season, for example. Now, I'm not an expert in Notion in no way, shape, or form, but still, like, I use it every day, and I seriously consider that it changed my life and the way I do things. Even for, like, studying, like, this is an example of something I was studying. I think it was called Personal Development, and it was, like, an adult section of it. But, yeah, anyway, this is all in Portuguese, but I think you can get the idea. Like, I'll have here nature versus nurture. What's the distinction? And if you click on the toggle here, it will have, like, the answer for that. And I just use that for everything that I'm studying. So what's the biological system? And I'll have the answer for that question here, and I can have like an image here to illustrate the answer. And everything I study, I try to put in these kind of question forms so I can test myself, see if I know the things that I'm studying. And I just think this looks like much more organized than if I would do it just by plain text. The reason I think Notion is so interesting is because you can basically do whatever you want with it. It's very, very useful for myself specifically, because like it happens a lot that I'm thinking like I can't forget to do this, and then I just do. So putting it into Notion, and I'll have it here. I don't have to think about it anymore. Whenever I'm at the gym, I open the gym Notion and I don't have to think. I just have it there. When I'm at university, everything's just prepared. I just click in what I need. Everything will just be in place for me to use, and it's just way easier for me to keep like everything in my head. And yeah, I just feel like I have a second brain at this point with the Notion app. Like whatever I think I'm just not capable of keeping here, I'll just outsource it to Notion, and it has made my life way, way easier. And I hope that it makes your life easier as well. And I hope this video was useful. And if you want to set up your own Notion page, this is how you do it. If you have any questions or you want to know anything else, just leave a comment below, send me a message, and I will answer every single one that you have. So yeah, this is going to be it for this video. I hope it was informative and useful. And if you enjoyed what I had to say, please consider leaving a like below. I really appreciate that, and it helps the channel. Anyways, guys, you know how it is. I've been Kavabite, and I occasionally talk about psychology. I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.